All right, so can I please call upon Ms. Preetika Venkatakrishnan to kindly throw some light on the sustainable development goals with all of us.
Thank you for that very energetic opening to a second post-lunch session, but a very important one on education. Thank you to Rusen ji for opening, the day by saying qualifications come in the way of our work. And we are all doing what it is, everything that it is that we're doing in spite of our qualifications and not because of our qualifications. And very interestingly after that, Shri Jha ji was also talking and he said, उन्होंने जो भी सीखे हैं अंग्रेजी में, वो तो सड़कों में सीखे हैं. वो सड़कों में सीखे हुए अंग्रेजी है, कक्षा में सीखे हुए अंग्रेजी नहीं है. So that I thought is such a great opening to the day. We didn't expect, we're going to be talking about languages so, so intimately. I represent the Karadi Path Education Company that is headquartered in Chennai, and we have our operations in 18 states of India. If you could go to the next slide, what we work on is something that we are all familiar with, which is that we have millions of children studying in India in English without knowing English. Have you all encountered this in your lives? Right? I would get 80% in English, 90%, अब तो 100 on 100 भी मिल रहा है इंग्लिश में. भाषाओं में भी 100 मिल सकता है, लेकिन एक वाक्य भी नहीं बोल सकती हूँ मैं इंग्लिश में. But I get scores in English. That is Mr. C.P. Vishwanath, our founder and an innovator, who looked at this very, significant problem in our society, which is we all know that we require English. We all know that for upper social mobility that we're talking about, for many of the other SDGs to be taken forward, English is very important. At the same time, we know that we come from a multicultural, multilingual, society. And in this society, what is happening is there are children who are scared of English. If you go to a government school, you would notice that the children have fear of a language. Why are you teaching a language? Why are we instilling fear in a child as part of the school process? And the reason for that is we have been doing the same things again and again without being ready to throw the textbook out of the classroom. NEP तो अब आया है, हम सबको पता है कि ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की दिशा पे चलना है, लेकिन what is the transformation? One textbook gets replaced by another textbook. There is a note, there is a preface which says this is NEP aligned. There is some mapping that happens. Then we all create more activities and we say this is NEP aligned. Whereas what happens is our entire system is being channelized by the Oxfords and Cambridges of the world. Now this is something very important, Mr. C.P. Vishwanath has looked into. He always talks about how India has 1,800 languages. I'm sure we all know of it. I don't know if we can name 5 or 6 languages from the 1,800 languages that we speak, but all of our English curriculum or the processes, the pedagogy come from, like I said, the Oxfords and Cambridges, the UK firms and from the USA, and these are all monolingual countries, which means these are countries that speak one language, which is their mother tongue, and they speak it well. But when you look at pedagogies, he felt that a language pedagogy needs to evolve from a country that is an expert in languages, which is India. I think many of us here speak 3 languages. How many of you here speak 3 languages? How many of you speak 4 languages here? Okay, that's quite a number. And 5 languages? Okay, I still have some of you who say 5 languages. How many of these languages did you learn in a classroom, if I may ask? The person who said 5 languages. How many of these languages did you learn from the classroom? In the class, 3 languages, but perhaps because of peer interaction. Like Jaji ne bole the na, ye jo yatra hai, that happens between, Vastavikata and Sambhavna. It is from that experience, exposure, and the great interactions that we pick up languages, but never from the grammar textbook and the teachers. One of the important things when we look at education is that many children today study in vernacular medium schools. In fact, a majority of children study in vernacular medium schools in India, because most of our government schools are vernacular medium schools. But India does not have a higher education setup that functions in vernacular medium, which means I study in vernacular medium for 10 to 12 years, and then I have to do my engineering in English. And I have fat textbooks that I have to understand. So what is the only way out? We memorize and we reproduce the language. So this is the first challenge that we are addressing, which is learning English, studying in English, scoring marks without understanding English. So we have a solution which is born in India. So Mr. Vishwanath's solution is an indigenous solution rooted in India. I'll come to that. And the second challenge, which is a very serious challenge, if we can actually quickly go through the next couple of slides, is the huge literacy gap that we see during the pandemic and in the aftermath of the pandemic. We conducted a joint study with the NSE Foundation, the National Stock Exchange of India, foundation. They are a partner organization. In fact, there are funders. NSE Foundation has funded Karadi Path, the program, our English program, for 425 schools in Nandurbar district, which is a Niti Aayog aspirational district, and they have funded our programs in 125 schools in Karauli district in Rajasthan. So we did a joint, study here to see how children fared in literacy pre-pandemic, for which we already had our baseline scores, and how they fared post-pandemic or post, say 1.5 years of the pandemic. And we noticed that there is not only a literacy gap, there is regression, which means I have not lost out on the 2 years of learning. I have lost out on 1 or 2 more years of the learning I have already had. And now there is no solution for this, because for all that all our FLN experts and CSR experts have spoken, what is happening in today is the schools have ordered for grade 4 textbooks for grade 4 children, whereas the grade 4 child's level today is grade 1. And you would understand how difficult the situation would be and what a big challenge it would be when faced with English. This is in spite of a lot of community effort, genuine community effort that happened. We were also part of several of these community efforts. Just go to the regression chart, please. So this is the kind of regression we are seeing across the grades, and we notice that there is about 50% regression, not loss, 50% regression of what children have learned. And this is what we are trying to address now when we are looking at quality education. Skip to the next couple of slides. So the only solution to this could be to make language joyful, to make a child learn a language, like English especially, to make it our own. The child has to learn it without fear. And this is something Karadi Path has been involved in. Mr. Vishwanath, who is the founder of the firm, usually talks about how the apple fell on his head when he was in Dharavi, which means he noticed that there were children in Dharavi who did not have any formal education, who were speaking 3 to 4 languages with ease, just by talking to their neighbors who come from different migrant communities. And he wondered, why is it then we can't make our children speak that one language which is English? Which means the problem is not with the child in acquiring languages. The problem is with us in the way we have chosen our pedagogy. So he came up with this pedagogy wherein we replicate in English all the processes of mother tongue acquisition. So how do we pick up our mother tongue? We would say, yahan aao. It's not like the child understands the language. The child has understood the gestures of yahan aao. So we are trying, what we call as paralinguistic features, or the, features such as your body movement, voice expression, use of music, use of storytelling. India has such a huge, and long and rich storytelling tradition, which is infused with music. There are so many folk traditions in India. So we are trying to bring all of this into the classroom to create classroom as carnival. So classroom is a place where there is music, there is movement, there is mime, there is theater, and through all of this, the child learns. Because we believe that if you create unconditional immersion in a joyful environment, the child will learn. So we should not be assessing the child, we should be assessing ourselves and what it is that we give our children. So this is sort of our process where you leave the child in sounds of English, make the child part of music in English, mime in English, and so on, and you can skip through to the end actually. So there is unconditional immersion in the English language. Slowly the child starts predicting the language, and then that leads to the final expression in the language. You can skip through to the rest. And what we have noticed by using this methodology is that where an English class was delivering fear, today we are able to deliver anywhere between 11x to 24x of the efficacy of a conventional classroom. The 11x efficacy is a study done by SCERT Goa. SCERT Goa was implementing this program in their schools, and then we have a joint study with the tribal department of Maharashtra. We worked with 400 schools with the Maharashtra government in the tribal districts, where we see that 1 hour of this pedagogy that we are talking about, which is child friendly and which is rooted in Indian knowledge systems. You've derived the pedagogy from our own experiences, multilingual experiences in India, and not just piggyback riding on ideas that have come to us in our B.Ed courses. So this shows that 1 hour of this particular pedagogy of Karadi paths is equivalent to 24.7 hours of conventional learning. So this is what we are involved in. Additionally, along with the pedagogy, we also ensure that the child's experiences are rooted, these experiences are familiar, so that they don't sing about London Bridge, which is falling down. We have a lot of our own flyovers that are that are falling down, and we should be singing about it. One of our co-founders, Shobha Vishwanath, in fact, started creating these Karadi songs because she went to a school where she saw children singing "Rain, Rain, Go Away" in India. And on the other hand, we're all talking about farmer suicides. Right? So she started with creating music which was very, very rooted in India. So she actually worked with Usha Utupji and came up with this song, "Rain, Rain, Come Our Way." So that we are not only using our pedagogies when we are talking about quality education, but we are also giving to children what means something to them. We're not giving them absolutely alien things to their context. So with that, thank you so much for your time. And thank you, Rusen ji, and everyone here. Thanks.